This is May on the island of Oahu in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's hot. Hey y'all, welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another true crime episode. So if you're ready, let's go. Alright y'all, so we did our nails the other day. A cute little Christmas set. I'm gonna show y'all the inspiration for it. It is this. Yeah, super cute, super festive. I love. But yeah, with the nail chat out of the way, we just gonna go ahead and hop into today's case. And if you've been here for the past couple of weeks, you know that I am going from coast to coast of America in alphabetical order. So from Alabama to Wyoming. And today we are in Hawaii. So it's mid-May 2013 when two women and a man, Ivy, Jill, and Mark, are all in Hawaii vacationing. And they're in Hawaii to celebrate Ivy's 29th birthday, which is on the 18th of May. And this is a trip that the three of them have taken before. They've been to Hawaii multiple times. So the three of them are in Hawaii having a good time, living life, doing what people do on vacation, drinking, partying, and having fun. And on the night of the 15th going into the 16th, Ivy decides to leave Jill and Mark at their hotel around 1 o'clock in the morning. And she's about to head to a bar called Kelly O'Neill's Bar. And this wasn't uncommon for Ivy or Jill to go out alone. So when Ivy decided that she was going to head over to Kelly O'Neill's Bar by herself, Jill and Mark didn't think nothing of it. And Jill was actually set to go out as well, but she just wasn't ready and Ivy was ready to go. So Ivy go out, she do her thing, and later on Jill goes out and does the same. But when Jill makes it back to the room at approximately 6 o'clock in the morning, she finds a sleeping Mark, but no sign of Ivy. So she wake Mark up like, where's Ivy? And Mark like, I don't know. I thought y'all would have met up. And Jill is like, no, I didn't see her. I thought she would have been back by now. So in an effort to find out where Ivy is, Jill decides to call her cell phone. And at first the phone does ring, but Ivy does not answer. So Jill decides to call back. However, this time when she calls back, the phone goes straight to voicemail. And that was a little bit concerning for her because, again, it's not like Ivy to just go ghost. And if she is going to be out somewhere for longer than expected, she would at least be answering her phone. So Jill calls again. And again, the phone goes straight to voicemail. So she calls back because, girl, where you at? But every time Jill calls, the phone goes straight to voicemail. And her and Mark was already a little bit worried when they realized that she wasn't in the room that morning. But now they're in full-blown panic mode because they can't get in touch with her. So Mark calls Ivy's sister and lets her know what's going on. And while Mark is on the phone with Ivy's sister, explaining to her, like, listen, we can't get in contact with your sister. Have you talked to her? Yada, yada, yada. Jill is on the phone to Honolulu police to report Ivy missing. And once the investigation into Ivy's disappearance gets underway, of course, investigators have to rule out Jill and Mark as suspects in Ivy's disappearance. So they question them, and during the questioning, the detective looking into Ivy's disappearance finds out that Mark, Jill, and Ivy are somewhat of a throuple. Ivy and Jill are both Mark's girlfriend. And not only are they in Hawaii to celebrate Ivy's birthday, but they're there on business as well. And just to put it plainly, Mark was their pimp and they was there to work. So in learning this information, they ask Mark, would it be possible that Ivy pretty much just ran away in order to get away from the lifestyle? And he said that that was unlikely. However, if she did decide to just run away to get away from the lifestyle, she wouldn't ghost her family. She would have at least talked to her mama or one of her sisters. So he didn't think that that was the case, seeing as how Ivy was super close to her family. Now, Mark and Jill seem to be telling the truth, but obviously investigators have to rule them out completely. So after the extensive questioning, they give them lie detector tests and they pass them. And on top of passing the lie detector test, Jill and Mark both genuinely seem concerned and worried about the whereabouts of Ivy. So they're able to quickly rule them out as being involved in Ivy's disappearance. But they do want to question Mark some more just to see if maybe he knew where Ivy was going. Maybe he could tell them a little bit more about her. Just anything to help find out what may have happened to her. And Mark ends up telling them that Ivy will always text him where she was going, and that at 3:43 in the morning he got a text from Ivy that said she was going to be at the Aston. And prior to her going to the Aston Hotel, she was at Kelly O'Neill's bar. And this was great information for the investigators because they were confident that both of these places more than likely had video surveillance footage, and they will hopefully be able to retrace Ivy's footsteps and see where she ended up. So they start at Kelly O'Neill's bar and request the video footage from them, as well as the multiple Aston hotels that are in the Honolulu area where they were staying. And in doing that, they found that some of the Aston hotels didn't have surveillance footage, others' cameras weren't working, and then there was another Aston hotel who they had to get a subpoena for in order to be able to view their footage. So this is going to be a little process. But while they was waiting to obtain the video footage from that particular Aston hotel, they was looking at the video footage from Kelly O'Neill's, and they were able to see Ivy outside of Kelly O'Neill's bar where she was seen talking to a couple of people. And there seemed to be nothing out of the ordinary happening until about 3:29 a.m. when she's seen leaving with a man who she was previously talking to. Now, unfortunately, this video was grainy as hell and they weren't really able to identify the man. They could see what he had on and they can get like a general type of description, but it was nothing to be like, oh, if you see this man, you gonna know who it is, right? And the man also wasn't a familiar face to the people who worked in the bar. So they didn't recognize him and they didn't know who this was either. So at this point, they know that Ivy left with this man from Kelly O'Neill's bar. But until they get their hands on the footage from the Aston Hotel, they're pretty much at a dead end. Now, the whole time while detectives is doing their thing and trying to find this surveillance footage, Jill is over here doing anything she can do to help. And she put on her thinking cap and she started calling local jails and hospitals to see if maybe Ivy had been hurt and was admitted as a Jane Doe because she didn't have any identification on her. Or maybe she got into some trouble because of the type of work that she do and maybe she was arrested. But she had no luck in those areas. And unfortunately, Ivy's family couldn't do much because they were obviously stateside, so they couldn't conduct searches or go out and look for Ivy on their own. But what they did do was make news appearances and posts on Facebook pleading for Ivy's return. So now going back to the detectives, they're finally able to get their hands on the footage from the Aston Hotel beachside in Waikiki, and it was this hotel that pretty much held all the answers. So in the early morning hours of the 16th of May, the detectives saw Ivy and this man enter the hotel lobby, get on the elevator, and go up to one of the floors. Unfortunately, all they saw was footage from the hotel lobby and the elevator because for whatever reason, there wasn't any surveillance footage on the hallways. But they do make a note that this man does appear to be the same man that she left Kelly's with. And so because he got on the same outfit, bald head, glasses on his head, yada yada yada. And they figured that he would know at the very least where Ivy might have gone afterwards. So they need to talk to this man. However, they still don't have a name for him. They don't know who he is. So they got to find out. So a couple days go by now. It's May 20th, 2013, and they still haven't gotten an ID on this man. However, 911 dispatch does end up getting a call from a family who is near Yokohama Bay, and they pretty much tell the 911 operator that their kid kind of like wandered off on their own and stumbled across a young woman's body at the bottom of a hill. And they're pretty sure that this person is deceased. So obviously they get police and detectives out there right away. And upon retrieval of this young lady's body, the detective who was investigating Ivy's disappearance was positively able to identify this body as that of Ivy Harris because of two very distinct tattoos that she had. So Ivy was born Ivanese Jo Ruth Harris Greer on May 18th, 1984 to her parents Marion Greer and Patricia Harris in Portland, Oregon. And it is in Portland, Oregon where Ivanese grew up and graduated with honors from Rosemary Anderson High School in 2001. And upon completion of her high school career, she decided to go on to college and attended Concord Career Institute. And while Ivy never had any kids of her own, you might as well say she did because she was like a second mom to her nieces. And when I learned that little bit of information about her, that kind of struck a chord with me because I have a niece, and while she was growing up, that was my baby. I mean, she's still my baby, even though she's grown now, but that was my baby. Her mama used to always tell her that I was her real mama. But yeah, it said that Ivy was the type of person who loved life and, quote, lived for love, her family, and fabulous things. And it was also said that she loved to travel and live life in the fast lane. And y'all, just look at this picture right here. It looks like Ivy is having the time of her life. And I feel like it's this picture that encapsulates the last paragraph of her obituary. And that paragraph reads, Ivanice was a strong woman with a beautiful spirit, a huge heart, and a captivating presence. She will be remembered for her boisterous laugh, illuminating smile, sarcastic comments, and comedic expressions. She was loved by so many and has touched so many lives that she could never be forgotten. May we all keep her in our hearts and cherish her memories forever. And I just feel like, look at this. Boisterous laughter, illuminating smile. It says it all in this picture. But yeah, so now that Ivy's body has been found, they now know that this is no longer a missing persons case, but this has been upgraded to a homicide case. And it was determined through an autopsy that her cause of death was strangulation. So now that this has been upgraded to a murder investigation, they need to identify the man that Ivy was seen on that hotel footage with immediately. So they go back to the footage and they find that the man left the hotel later on that morning with a duffel bag. Now, mind you, they wasn't 100% sure that this was the same man, but he caught their eye because he was wearing a hat, a long sleeve shirt, and some pants. This is May on the island of Oahu in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's hot. So that made him stand out to investigators. And when they realized that he was kind of keeping his head down, trying to like not be seen, that kind of had their antennas up. So they kept an eye on this man. And when he returned without the duffel bag. And he kind of almost looked at the camera. And that's when they realized that this was in fact the same man that Ivy had been seen with. And then they realized that when he had left with that duffel bag had seemed kind of heavy. And it was so heavy that when he put it in the back of his car, you could physically see the car like dip. And from that, they presumed that Ivanice's body had been in that duffel bag when he left that morning. So they keep on following him, and after he comes back without the duffel bag, they see him get back on the elevator, but this time he has changed clothes, and now he is in a military uniform. So they try to look at his little badge, you know, his little name sticker or whatever that they be having on their uniforms, but the video is not clear enough for them to be able to see it. But don't worry, they gonna catch his ass. So they ended up narrowing the guest list down to the only single person check-in who declined room service on the morning of Ivy's disappearance. And they compared some footage to make sure that they was really looking at the same person, and they were. And it all came down to a man named Nathaniel Cosby, who was a United States Marine Corps Master Sergeant with a wife and kids. And because he was a Marine and he appeared to have been on active duty at the time, NCIS had to get involved. So the Honolulu detective gets in contact with the NCIS detective like, hey yo, we got one of your homeboys, he over here wilding in Honolulu. Can you tell me a little bit about him? So NCIS get on the phone with his command and they like, hey, tell me about this homeboy named Nathaniel Cosby. And they learned that Nathaniel was no longer in Honolulu. He only was there to be briefed. And now he's actually in Beijing, China. And Honolulu detectives are like, oh fuck, we have no jurisdiction in China. We cannot just call somebody and have him arrested. We cannot go get him. Like, what are we going to do? We really literally just have to wait till this man comes back stateside or to Honolulu. So in the meantime, while they're waiting for him to touch back down on U.S. soil, Honolulu detectives and NCIS detectives, they link up and they start building a case against Nathaniel because they don't want to leave no stone unturned when it comes to prosecuting this man. So while he was over there in Beijing thinking he slicked the can of oil and he got away with murder, Honolulu and NCIS detectives is over here like, gotcha bitch. And on June 5th, 2013, they was able to tell him to his face because this is the day where he was scheduled to come back to Honolulu. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this was set up by the investigators along with the Marines and everything to get him back to Honolulu, or if this was already predetermined. But whatever the case was, he thought he was about to go back to Waikiki Beach. Nah, bruh. They caught him at the airport and took him straight down to the police station for questioning. And during this questioning, detectives show him a picture of Ivy, and they ask him, do he recognize this woman? And he said no, he didn't recognize her, but he does know that while he was in Honolulu the last time, he did meet up with a black girl named Ivy. And so detectives are like, okay, well, maybe it was her. You said you can't recognize her, but just tell us what happened with your Ivy girl. And Nathaniel pretty much tells them like, okay, so I took her back to my room. We did what we did. We went to sleep. When I woke up, she wasn't there. But when I woke up in a panic because I thought I was late for work, and I tripped on the side of my bed and I hit my face on like the little bed frame or whatever. And that's how I got this little cut above my eye. You see, he was already trying to explain away a scar, but the detectives already knew that that was a lie because they had the evidence to say that he more than likely got that scar because Ivy was beating his ass in a struggle for her life. But Nathaniel thinks he's selling it to these detectives. He's not worried about them thinking that he had something to do with Ivy's disappearance and or murder at this point. All he's concerned with is if the detectives are going to tell his wife. Because during the interview he says, literally, and I quote, "You're not going to tell my wife." Like, no, nigga, she gonna find out when your ass get arrested and you gotta call her for this. Well, you ain't getting out on bail, but... So they keep questioning him and they catch him in a couple of lies. And instead of just letting him lie, they actually call him out on his lies. And when they call him out on his lies, he decides to shut the interview down and decides to invoke his Fifth Amendment right to shut the fuck up. However, they don't really need Nathaniel to talk. They was really just hoping for a confession, but they have more than enough evidence to lock his ass up and throw away the key. And of course, Nathaniel decides to take this to trial. And this trial was held in a military court, so I'm not really sure how that differs from a civilian court. But yeah, I'm gonna just tell y'all what the prosecution and what the defense said. The trial took place in 2014, and during this trial, the prosecution presented a case that included pretty much all of the video surveillance evidence that they had collected, and they pretty much said that they believe that he solicited Ivy's services outside of Kelly O'Neill's bar. She agreed. They went back to his hotel, which was the Aston Hotel, beachside Waikiki, and things got out of hand while they were in the room together, and he essentially choked her to death. Now, the defense, they actually came with a surprise argument, which was self-defense, which up until that point, neither Nathaniel nor his lawyers had mentioned anything about this being a self-defense case. But during the trial, Nathaniel said that he did in fact kill Ivy. However, like I just said, it was in self-defense. He basically said that she woke him up after hours and hours of drinking and demanded more money. And when he refused to give her the money, she cut him with a knife. And in an effort to, I guess, restrain her, he put her in a chokehold and was trying to get her out of the room. But during the chokehold and the struggle to get her out of the room, she ended up dying. So that was his self-defense claim. However, the jury did not believe Nathaniel's self-defense claim, and they ended up sentencing him to life in a military prison. And I really don't even think I need to say that because of all of this, he was definitely dishonorably discharged from the military. However, Nathaniel wasn't the only person who had to serve time in today's case, because remember Mark Miles, her boyfriend slash pimp? Well, he ended up having to serve 3 years for bringing Jill and Ivy to Hawaii for prostitution purposes, and so pretty much ex-trafficking. But Mark has said that Ivy's death has changed him as a man, and while he was in jail for those 3 years, he had a lot of time to sit back and think and reflect on his life and the choices that he made, and he is a better man today. But sadly, it had to come on the back of Ivanice's death. And Mark is actually an author now, and he has a book that you can find on Amazon, and it is called The Testimony of a Sinner, if any of you guys want to check that out. I haven't read it. I actually just realized that he was an author yesterday. But yeah, so if y'all want to check that out, you know, The Testimony of a Sinner. And also, I found out that sadly, almost 6 years to the day of Ivy's death, her father also passed away, which was pretty hard on the family, but they did say that they find happiness in knowing that Ivy and her dad are now together. But yeah, y'all, that is all I have for today's case. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one when we are in Idaho. Why are you always picking apart what you look like in the camera? Because what you look like in the camera ain't what you look like in the mirror. That's why. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana. Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho. Did I say Idaho? Baby, where did I go? Get it together, girl. 702. Get it together. We're just gonna go ahead and hop into today's case. And today we are in Hawaii. Oh no, you forgot to do your little thing. Okay, hold on. But now they're in full-blown panic mode because why? I know what I'm trying to say. But now they're in full-blown panic mode because they don't have no. To see if they could obtain video footage to see if maybe they saw. No, wait, what? Was positively able to oh my gosh. Was positively able to identify the body so now that this is now a murder investigation, they need to find this man that Ivy was. And so now that this is oh my gosh. And so now that this is, oh my goodness, this is your problem. It's not a problem anymore. Why you look like that? Oh hell no. Hey, tell me about this homeboy named Nathaniel Cosby. I almost call him Bill. And I really don't even think I need to say that he was dishonored. And it is called, what's it called? And I will see you all in the next one. Oh wait, no, that's not the ending. What is it? That's not how I end these videos now these days.